We got a rate. That means we are on site. We are on site at the Ruston Communities Men's Shed. It's a funky little camera. If you want to walk to the camera that's on the stairs, that's the back of Tommy Folk's head. That's me. I'm Rick Godley. To my right, Dr. Melinda Hienz, visiting from Northern Iowa University. Yep. UNI, actually, right? Questions for Dr. Hienz, for Tommy Folk, and or for Ray, not for me. Post them up there, because this is kind of neat how we're live and in the moment, and we don't know who we're reaching now, but I know we're reaching also in the future, because Dr. Hienz is visiting, doing research on this concept called Men's Shed. Well,
4 months in Ireland in 2022. I did Culture and Shed Association, and through that is actually how I met Tommy. Tom and I were on a Zoom call a couple summers ago, I think, where we were and so I followed up and I said, you know, would you be okay if I came by? And here I am. So.
Well, way to go, Tommy Folk. He's not on camera. I have the back of his head, so if you want to talk to those people up there. But Tommy, when did you have the conversation with Melinda?
I have no clue.
A couple summers, but I did, and here I am.
And yeah, you're here. All right. So, when did the phone ring? And Tommy said
it's in the U.S. because my context was more like the Irish sheds, so I wanted to see what was similar, some interviews, and see what that looks like, because I had talked with some sheds in Minnesota and Wisconsin, but they didn't have their own building, and so I just wanted to go to a place that had their.
There and Tommy Folk, I think, Ray, you were exposed first to this flyer that came out. It says Men's Shed coming to Ruston.
I was waiting to check out, and that flyer was laying on their counter. I think it was Thursday, is that right?
The owner of Tool City is Beulah's brother.
Yeah, and I didn't know that even for several months afterwards. But
Thursday, April 26th, yes.
Yeah, it was Thursday, because it was Wednesday afternoon when I saw the flyer. And I thought, well, that sounds interesting. I think
How many showed up to that first meeting?
I think there were 4 of us plus Miss Beulah.
And then Mayor Ronnie Walker was there as well.
No, he wasn't there that day.
He wasn't there that day.
No, it was just
Judy was.
He was?
Subsequent meetings that she held.
So what's your takeaway when you heard, like, you know, we all know the concept of a community men's shed. What were you thinking?
I was sitting there listening and interested in it and following what she was saying. And all these places in Australia and Scotland and England, and the more interested I got.
Well, she told me the same thing, because I got research from the
Yeah.
Australian Men's Shed Association that I pulled down, and also to find out about this. And so that was just the seeding, if you will,
Yeah.
of the concept, because you know, to push the car, you got to move it the first inch, and that takes a whole lot of energy
Yep.
and initiative. What else followed up? Because something obviously sparked in you.
Well, she doing all that and just listening to her and talking with her. I told her I'd help with it, and then she started having other meetings. And there was a lot. She invited all kinds of folks, people that worked in the wood industry, the home building industry, plumbers, and the mayor was there some, and Judy was there as a representative of the convention center.
Right.
Or the Chamber of Commerce, actually, I guess it was.
And
there was a wide variety of folks at those early meetings.
Again, it takes a community to come together and having a want-to show up, and because of that, and Dr. Hienz was talking about how Ruston didn't have a place in space until Doug Postel stepped forward. Were you there for that kind of dialogue, Tommy? Were you there, Ray?
No,
she go see. That's
no,
the
really.
question.
I think she talked to everybody in town at one point or another. But he was sitting there, and he immediately just almost started dancing because she just knew it would work.
Right.
And she called me and one other gentleman that was at that first meeting, Harold Parker, and we met with her and went over and got with Doug, and he took us and showed it to us. It didn't look anything like it did by the time we moved in. It was full of old furniture and everything else the first time I saw it.
For the sake of historical record, we're talking about what is now the Louisiana Delta Community College. I don't think it's where it was.
Yeah.
But we have a facility now. It's on Farmerville Highway, just north of Ruston, about what, 2-3 miles on the right?
Yes, that far.
Correct.
2.5 miles from the interstate. Yeah.
All right. So, Dr. Hienz, traveling men's
Shed shop is the big, over 14 different sheds in Ireland, and I've been able for people here to use. And so, I was talking with both Ray.
To be, pun intended, a mentoring opportunity for multi-generation. As a matter of fact, Ray, when I got here today to set up, there was a young man that I think he walked in here, and I'm not really sure, Tommy. We will teach you, Rick, to come and build. And I'm like, I want you to do it. But anyway, this young man, I'm thinking he probably thought that's what the men's shed does. No, they will teach you and share that. Is that right? Did you get that takeaway from him?
Well, the young man that came in today, what he wanted, because
Right.
all he had was a picture.
Right.
And then we showed him how to run the bandsaw, and he's in there cutting it out. So we switched him around to where he, understood, but pretty quick.
And it's a $10 fee. By the way, this is a nonprofit org because I don't want to work for it. I want you to do it. I can inspire you to do it, but it's only $10 per day. But you have annual memberships, right?
$120 a year.
$120 a year. All right, let's go back now. We'll get to that later. Now you threw me off my track. Oh yeah, nonprofit organization. So explain, Men's Shed open for all. Do that we can correct.
The biggest thing is that it has men in the name, probably, and so they think it's just for men.
Right.
And we're not just for men.
Right.
We are for everybody. And Beulah said that in no certain
Right
terms.
from the get-go, you're right.
Right from the get-go, she said, we're going to do it for everybody. And if they're under 18, bring a chaperone.
Right.
And
Right.
we host scouts, and we hosted homeschool the other day.
Yeah.
And we mean just exactly what we say. It's for anybody that wants to come and do.
There are so many different ages here, because I was here last night and there was a whole group of people coming after work too, which was really interesting.
We have a good thing here in community and as far as north central Louisiana, just to brag a little bit. But part of the issue too is and you could in skill
From other people, right? And that might be more effective than spending your time, maybe just online or with other superficial things, versus I think relationships that you could build here are going to be more meaningful.
a person after they came in saying create something, and not only is a person pleased, but you're pleased. Who would that be? Do you have a person in mind, Ray?
Well, I'll tell you the one, probably the best example of that is a man named John Payne. When he came to our very first open house, when we started open in 2018, in November of 2018, he walked in and told Miss Beulah that he didn't know anything about woodworking.